What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a UFC Manchester card builder. I heard the UFC is going to Manchester sometime this year. This will be a pay-per-view. I hope so, because that's what this card builder is. It's a pay-per-view. Um, I think this is way too stacked to be fight night. There's too much UK talent to make it a fight night, man. The last two, not last two UK events. The last event, it was a fight night. It was pretty mediocre, but there's a lot of UK talent, so I think it would be a good idea to make a pay per view there. The reason I don't have Leon Edwards versus Bilal as the main event is because I feel like that's a fight that you could kind of save to just slap on a card that really needs it. Um, a lot of people aren't going to be too hyped for that fight. That fight you could just kind of put anywhere. But this fight, on the other hand, everybody wants to see Tom Aspinall fight soon because, everybody thinks he's the next guy at heavyweight. I think so too. I think he should fight Curtis Blades next, as you can see here on the screen. Great stylistic matchup. It'll be a good fight. It's going to end in a finish. Last fight they have some unfinished business. Tom Aspinall had a freak injury, but Curtis Blades was landing some good shots. Um, I really want to see this fight, kind of settle it, see who's better. I do think Tom Aspinall would win. I think Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight on planet Earth, but we'll see. I do think this can be a pay-per-view main event because a lot of people think of Tom Aspinall as the champion already because John Jones doesn't want to fight him. So when you have a champion ducking an interim champion, obviously people are going to think of the interim champion as the actual champ because the interim champ belt is for the number one contender spot. So I think this is a banger of a fight. Make it happen, UFC. Make it happen. But we move on to the co-main event. MVP versus Wonderboy. This one is kind of obvious. This is a solid co-main event for any pay-per-view. This could also be a fight night main event. I'd like to see them do a fight night main event with this in North Carolina. I don't think the UFC's ever gone to South Carolina, which is where I live. But I'm from South Carolina. I love Wonder Boy, but MVP would get a huge pop from the crowd in the UK. I think it would be awesome. The atmosphere would be great, and I want to see MVP fight Wonder Boy. Two of the best strikers ever. This is guaranteed to be a great matchup. I mean, maybe not guaranteed. It could be boring, but I thought Holland versus MVP would be boring, and I feel like it's kind of difficult for MVP to be boring. And I do think he would knock Wonderboy out. I think he's too quick, and I think he's got too much power. Now, it's harder to hit Wonderboy than Holland, but we're not here to talk about the the style matchups for this fight. I just think it's, obviously a great fight. A lot of people want to see it. I think the UFC should definitely try and make this happen. Um, yeah, solid co-main event. You can just toss this on a UK card. It's gonna be a great fight. But next fight, the featured fight, Yair Rodriguez versus Arnold Allen. I think this is an awesome fight. Um, Great stylistic matchup. A lot of the fight will probably take place on the feet. Um, Arnold Allen, he might grapple, but you know, Arnold Allen, another UK guy. Put him in the UK, man. Let these guys fight in the UK sometimes. Um, I think this fight would be really entertaining. I think Arnold Allen would win, and I think he'd make it look pretty easy because Yair has not impressed me in his last two fights at all. I had really high expectations for him, and he shat the bed. Um, this fight guaranteed to be pretty good. Um, Arnold Allen, I feel like a lot of people like Arnold Allen. I like him too. Great fighter. Always has entertaining fights. Make this fight happen. I think this is a good fight. Get whoever wins this fight, back into the top five area. Two like after they win this, maybe one or two more fights, they could be in the title picture because there's not a lot of contenders. This is a great fight. Book it, UFC. Book this fight. Next one, Paddy Pimblett versus Drew Dober. Um, I think this is a really good test for Paddy Pimblett because Drew Dober is, solid top 15 level guy. He's well rounded. He's got a lot of power. Got a hell of a chin. Good grappling. People might call me crazy. I think Patty can win this matchup. I think he could just lay and pray. But it's a UK card. You gotta have Pimblett on it. Um, he's the everybody in the UK. Maybe they don't love him. I don't know. I'm not from the UK. I feel like they probably like him though. Um, Gotta have Pimblett in the UK. Come on. I don't think he should be the co-main event of a pay-per-view though. And this is a really good test. Drew Dober can knock him out because he's very open on the feet. If he gets past Drew Dober and maybe he even gets a finish, which I doubt he will, because he couldn't even finish an old decrepit Tony Ferguson. But this is a great test. I think this is the fight for Paddy Pimblett. It's time to give him a top 15 opponent. We can't keep giving him easy, easy fights that he makes close. So it's time to see if Pimblett really is that good. So next one, Lerone Murphy versus Bryce Mitchell. Um, I think this is a good fight. Get Lerone Murphy a top 15 opponent. Bryce Mitchell coming off a loss. I think this is a close fight though. I think Lerone Murphy could win it. Lerone Murphy is he's pretty entertaining. Another guy from the UK. That's the whole point of this card, just a bunch of UK talent. Um, we got to get some new guys at featherweight because it's looking like Ilya is going to be champion for a while. So we need to get some new contenders up in here. This is a good test for Lerone Murphy. If he can beat Bryce Mitchell, then we know he's probably a top 10 level guy. Um, as I'm saying this though, I really hope Lerone Murphy doesn't have a fight booked. I think he might have a fight booked versus Dan Ige. Fuck. Well, we can ignore that. This is a better fight. Whatever. Um, I want to see this fight more than the Dan Ige fight. But we move on to the next one. Nathaniel Wood versus Sean Woodson. Nathaniel Wood coming off a loss. Sean Woodson is on a pretty good streak right now. This is a tough matchup for Wood because Woodson is a genetic freak. I mean, look at him. He looks like he's not from this earth. If Woodson beats Nathaniel Wood, I think you could argue that he deserves a ranked opponent because, hell of a win streak he's got, man. He's beaten some pretty good opponents. He beat Charles Jourdain. This is a good opportunity for Nathaniel Wood to get back in there, come off a win. His last fight against Mohamed Naimov is pretty unfortunate in his favor. A lot of cheating going on by Naimov. It was a close fight too. You gotta get Nathaniel Wood in the UK too, man. Let him fight there. Come on. So many UK guys in the UFC. This is a good fight. I think it would be pretty fun. I do think Nathaniel Wood would win, but it's close. I think Sean Woodson's pretty underrated. People are finally starting to come around to him. He's got takedown defense like a brick wall. But I think this is a banger of a fight. Book it. I want to see this happen. Next one. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Shara Magomedov. I hope they're not saving Magomedov for Abu Dhabi. Maybe they're going to take him to Saudi Arabia. But I think this would be an insane fight. Both of these guys are amazing kickboxers. Shara Magomedov, his kickboxing is special, man. It's just his grappling, which is the issue, which is kind of crazy. And, Christian Leroy Duncan, his grappling has been looking good in the past few fights. So I'd be interested to see how this fight could turn out. Maybe Duncan could exploit his grappling. But I think on the feet, this would be an amazing matchup. I think there's a high chance it ends in a finish. I'd lean towards Shara Magomedov, but I don't know. Duncan is pretty damn good. This is a really solid fight. This could be like a, maybe the pay-per-view, not pay-per-view, the prelim main event. I think the UFC should make this fight. This is an awesome fight. You can't tell me you guys wouldn't want to watch this. This is awesome. But we move on to the next one. Molly McCann versus Polyana Viana. I think this would be a pretty fun fight too. Polyana Viana, her striking is coming along. She looked good in the striking department in her last fight. She did not look good in the grappling. And Molly McCann got a submission in her last fight. So I think it's pretty likely that this fight ends in a finish too. Molly McCann she's an entertaining fighter. I know a lot of people don't like her. She gets a lot of shit because the UFC really tries to push her and then she loses. But I like her. She's a fun fighter to watch. She's entertaining. I think this is a pretty good fight on the card. Yeah, and it's a UK card. You got Patty on it. Obviously, you gotta have Molly McCann. So we will move on to the next one. Davy Grant versus Howney Barcelos. This is another banger of a fight. I really would like to see this. I'd lean towards Davy Grant in this matchup, but it's close. Howney Barcelos, good fighter, well-rounded, a lot of power. Same thing with Davy Grant. I think this fight would end in a finish. It'd be great. Obviously, Davy Grant, another UK guy. This would be an awesome fight. I actually would really like to see this because as I'm thinking about it now, I don't know who I'd pick because Howney Barcelos, he looked pretty all right in his last fight until he got the finish. He was landing some good kicks, good punches. Howney Barcelos, he's just a solid fighter. Same thing with Davy Grant. I think their styles collide well to make a good match. And I actually do really want to see this fight. Let me know what you guys think about this one because I haven't really seen anybody talking about this matchup. I think it's a pretty good one. Yeah, next one. Sam Patterson versus Matthew Semmelsberger. This is Matthew Semmelsberger's last chance. This is his last chance in the UFC. Sam Patterson coming off a submission win in his last fight. That was pretty impressive, especially after he got murdered and was trying to fight the referee when he woke back up. That was scary. Yeah, Semmelsberger hits like a truck, but he always fumbles the finish. This is a guy he can finish. Sam Patterson can also finish him. He's a pretty good fighter. He does leave a lot of openings though. A lot of these fights that I've picked, I've tried to pick ones that end in a finish to guarantee a really exciting card. This might seem kind of like a layup because Matthew Semmelsberger's on a pretty bad loss streak, but this is a very winnable matchup for him. I'd be interested to see how this one goes. I might even pick him because Sam Patterson, a little bit chinny, and Matthew Semmelsberger hits like a truck. But I think this is an electric fight. I do want to see this one. Yeah, this is a good one. But we will move on to the next one. Oban Elliott versus Danny Barlow. They both fought on the same card. Elliott, I wasn't really impressed with his performance against Val Woodburn, but I think a lot of mistakes he made in that fight he could fix pretty easily. He looked very good in the grappling department, but Danny Barlow got a KO in his last one. He's very good on the feet. He's dangerous, and we saw Woodburn hurt Elliott. So I'd be interested to see if Barlow could keep this one on the feet and land the KO shot. He's got Barlow. I'm pretty sure he hurt Quinlan with a flying knee in his last fight. I could be wrong on that, but I know he is a very exciting fighter. Oban Elliott, his last fight wasn't too exciting, but he's still a very good grappler, and I want to see how good he really is because I think he's got a lot of potential to be great. Be a great fighter. Maybe I don't know about ranked, but we'll see. This is why I want to see these fights. Some of these fights really are like seeing how good one of these guys really is with the tough matchup. But I do want to see this one as well. We move on to the last fight. Now I know George Hardwick has a fight booked in Cage Warriors. I think it might be this weekend, but I'm just assuming he's gonna win that one. He might be fighting a pretty good opponent. I know he lost on the Contender Series, but I think that guy had a really good style to beat him, and I think he beats a lot of guys in the UFC. He's a good fighter. If Morgan Charrier can fight in the UFC, so can this guy. I mean, and against Francisco Prado. Let me move my camera. I just noticed covering up his face. Francisco Prado. This is a banger matchup. Most likely ends in a finish. Francisco Prado, he did lose his last fight to Daniel Zellhuber, but he was a dog in there, man. He kept pushing the pace even though he was losing. He had a good first round. And I do want to see Hardwick in the UFC. I feel like if they don't sign him, it is a missed opportunity. He's a great fighter, very very entertaining. But yeah, this is the opener of the card. Let me know what you guys think about this card. What matchups would you put on this in a hypothetical UFC Manchester card? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you later.